What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Entre Mike. In this video, we're gonna talk about freight rates, how bad it's getting, and why your boy had to take a load for $1 a mile.
Damn! Hey, Bill, I'm in the mood for a switch up. I hit the function, hit the rose till I hiccup. I hit the stage and leave with money that's a stick up. She picture perfect, so I told him I'm a flick up. Bill, I'm in the mood for a change up. I leave the city and return with my change up. They got amnesia, don't remember how they played us. They wanna knock me down, but somehow I just stay up. Look, straight from the mud like Ruby. Straight to the stage, they love me. I understand they hungry.
So seriously, in this video, we're really gonna discuss what makes cheap freight, or what is cheap freight in this video, and ways you can avoid taking cheap freight, and knowing if freight is really cheap enough. Really, this video and all is about freight rates being down while overhead is higher than ever before. So, cheap freight. What's the definition of cheap freight? Me and Hotshot Mac about 2 weeks ago, or a week or two ago, we had a live discussing this topic. Well, it was one of the bigger topics. So if you guys want to check out that live stream, check out the link below. I'm gonna link down his channel. Go subscribe to him. He's a great guy. Real humble. Him and his wife have some amazing things coming up. So shout out to Mr. and Mrs. Hotshot Mac. But so yeah, cheap freight. So to me, cheap freight, in my opinion, should be selective to whichever carrier it is. So cheap freight to me may not be cheap to somebody with paid off equipment, because their cost of operations, of course, will be way lower than mine. So for me, cheap freight, in my opinion, is freight that's freight that doesn't meet your requirements as far as cost of operations. Because you got to be fair, honestly, in this game. You can't believe that a 2 foot, one pallet should move at the same rate as 20 pallets. You know what I'm saying? So, and I understand that, but there are some key things I want you guys to look into when booking loads when you're brand new. Because if you're brand new, you're green, and you don't know the value of that product, or how heavy it is, how tall it is, do you got a tarp? You know what I'm saying? All of those things play a factor in if a load is worth it or not. I also had another video with his name now is Sage News about the same conversation, like what he thought cheap freight was. I'm gonna play that video real quick, and I want you guys to listen to what he's saying.
I got a good question too. It was like that. Yeah. Do you think people that take they call it cheap freight, right? I'm sorry, guys. So do you think people taking those rates under $1 a mile, even if it works for them, do you think people like that are cancer to the trucking community? Like,
oh boy, here we go.
Yeah.
Back with that word cheap freight. All right. What is cheap freight?
I just refer to it as anything under my cost to operate. And it's like if it's a 26, if I got a 26-foot box truck and I got 26 feet of freight, if it's less than $1.50, $1.40 a mile because it's my cost to operate, I see it as cheap freight to me because it just doesn't make sense for me to take it.
All right. Cheap freight is like Einstein's theory of relativity.
Okay.
Time is relative. Cheap freight is relative. I know an owner-operator of a tractor trailer that can run for like 75 cents.
Shoot.
So in that video, he said he knows an owner-operator. Now, this was a year ago, but he knows an owner-operator who can run his truck for 75 cents a mile. Now, that may be cost of operations before profit, or just fuel alone at this point, because if tractors are running at 5 miles per gallon right now, I'm pretty sure they're draining almost $1, if not more, per mile in certain areas, just off of fuel alone. So no, owner operators cannot operate off of 75 cents a mile. Now, if that's a partial rate, that's cool. If that's to get out of a dead area, that's fine. Not necessarily with me, but maybe that owner operator. And you got to understand that mega carriers play a big part in why freight can, why freight can be lower, and mega carriers have thousands of trucks. They can be running our lanes down because, of course, they go based off of volume. If they have thousands of trucks, their profit margins don't have to be high as an individual or medium-sized fleet with 2 to 7 trucks. Small to medium fleets, 2 to 7 truck, or 1 to 7 truck. I'm sorry. We need high profit margins, meaning every single load we can't just break even on loads. We have to profit every single load. So I know you guys are wondering, like, so Mike, what makes cheap freight? Cheap freight, like I said at the beginning of this video, is any load that if you pick up is less than your cost of operations. So if you know with all your expenses and your bills, it takes you $1.30 just to break even on your truck before making any money, or $1.50, $2, whatever that margin is, if you want to calculate your profit into it, because you need to make money no matter what goes on your truck. I'm sick of this narrative that partials are the way to go. Because honestly, I don't like partials. Let's say I booked 2 partials on a Thursday and Friday, both picking up Friday and they deliver Monday. So I gave myself a 2-day window to go pick up 2 loads, but I booked them both on Thursday and I got to pick them up on Friday. Each load was $1.50 a load, right? So you would get $3 a mile if you had them both picked up. With shipping and receiving nowadays, they can take too long to load you or to offload you, but let's just speak on the loading process. Let's say you get to the first shipper and they don't have a forklift to load the truck. So you're waiting there 3-4 hours and you had to pick up the next load by 12 and you're 2 hours away. You get what I'm saying? You see how booking partials can be way more stressful than it looks. Yes, it makes more money, and yes, it can be deemed as more efficient. A lot of people like to call it slowing down the speed up. I just don't agree with it. I don't think you should put something on your truck that if it was alone by itself, you weren't making any money with it. So I'm just trying to help all the new carriers out there who's booking those loads. Like I did it for my first time going to Nebraska. I booked 3 partials. One of those partials was less than $1 a mile. That's how these brokers are putting loads on there. And give or take, it was maybe like 2 or 3 feet, 200 pounds. That was like a very small partial, and I wouldn't have gotten it if it wasn't 20 miles away from another drop. But I want people to keep a mindset of, if you're gonna book that load, that low paying partial, make sure you already got something that's paying well on your truck. I like to call it a dedicated rate. So a dedicated rate to me is, of course, your cost of operation with at least $1 a mile, maybe $1.50 worth of profit afterwards. So if my cost of operations before profit is $1.10, $1.20, a dedicated rate is gonna have to be $2.20 to $2.50 a mile for me. So you guys gotta start evaluating each load to make profit. That's the main point of this video. Cheap freight is anything less than your cost of operations. I get it. People with paid off trucks, they can run at $1.50. They can run at $1.30. That's cool. I can't. And even if I could, I wouldn't. So I don't like that narrative either, that just because I can't take the load, somebody else can take it for cheaper just because they got lower cost of operations, when it's just ass backwards to me. Why do it just because you can do it? You want to maximize the amount of profit that you can take. Like I said in this video, the main thing I want you guys to take away from this is, don't book cheap freight. That's all I'm saying. Because when you do, you're driving the lanes down. And if brokers, what the new things that brokers are doing now is saying, we're just looking for guys to take loads for fuel money. So when you go to book a load on that Friday, right? Let's say you stay in Dallas, Texas, and you book on a load going within 150 miles of Dallas, Texas, or Texas in general. They know you're just trying to get home. So they're gonna lowball you on that rate. Every single time they ask you for your MC, a part of their negotiating tactic is, okay, it's Friday. It may be Labor Day this Monday coming up. So this dude's trying to get home before the weekend. I can go a little low on the rate because I know he gonna book this load. You get what I'm saying? So just be mindful of that. Know your worth. Watch out for these double brokers. Watch out for these shady brokers in general. Just know your worth. Know that it takes a truck to get a load from point A to point B. So don't lowball yourself. And especially if you got a tarp, charge another $200, $300 for that. I don't care what's the mileage on it. If I got to get out my truck and throw some 6-foot, 8-foot drop tarps, it's going to cost another $200. You get what I'm saying? Now, if it's like pipe and it's only 2 feet high, that's a little different. Maybe 100, 150. But just start knowing your worth and charging according to what makes you feel the best. Because honestly, cheap freight to me, and what cheap freight would be to a semi-owner operator on a flatbed, and what cheap freight would be to somebody in a 26-foot box truck, all of it is going to be different. But don't base your whole business on believing you're going to book 3 partials towards the same direction every single week, because it's almost impossible to calculate, because the load board is spotty. It's a spot market, so you getting what's available that day. Not every single week the same stuff isn't going to the same place, if that makes sense. And when you're non-CDL, you're gonna be limited on weight capacity. So if you're only limited on 10,000 pounds that you can carry freight, 9 to 10,000 pounds, and most of the loads are 5 to 6,000 pounds, most of the time so let me put it like this. My bad, because I got off topic. I would rather have a load paying $220 to $250 a mile than booking 2 partials that gave me $3 a mile. That's all I'm saying, because you got 2 picks, 2 drops, and then you got more stress in knowing if you're gonna make those pickup or drop-offs. Because if you drop those 2 loads, one dude, like I said, this happened to me last week. It wasn't with partials, but one dude didn't have a forklift on site. I could have been waiting there for 3 to 4 hours. Who knows if I would have made the next drop that day and been able to pick up another load that same day. You just got to be thinking about stuff like that when you get out into this industry. But that's all I really had on this video. It's not really a long, in-depth video like I've been making lately. I just wanted to put my insight out there to help the new guys who are still subscribing to the channel. Shout out to you guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you guys want more. And I'm out. Peace.